that.
Yes, absolutely. All right, so you want to talk to me about Common Core in our group here, the power panel that's here, David Crow and Nicholas Horton and, of course, Laurie Lee. And there's things that concern you about Common Core.
Yes.
Okay. How did you, did you go out and read as much material as you can, pro and con, and come up with how you feel about it?
I have. What got my attention was some of the fuzzy math that a lot of people are talking about that's coming home, particularly with the 3rd and the 4th graders.
Okay.
And I found that the math standards that my child was learning in school really weren't making any sense to me. They were taking a very long, roundabout approach to get to an answer, and it came across as very remedial. And it was very frustrating, not just for my child, but it was frustrating for me because I felt like I couldn't help him with his homework. To give you an example of that, there's this heavy reliance on manipulatives, which is not a new concept in math education. There's CGI math and everyday math that have been around forever. They tried to push this through in the 60s unsuccessly. That uses things you can hold in your hand.
Let me tell you something from that.
Yes.
I was part of that in the 60s.
Were you?
It was called, quote, the new math.
Yes.
Really original name, but it was called the new math. And it came out when I was in 5th grade. And by the end of the 5th grade, they got rid of it. Indiana did away with it because the parents couldn't figure out what the hell was going on.
Well, it's back.
And the rest of the kids weren't figuring it out either.
Well,
I want to make a clarification. Are you talking about a particular curriculum, or are you talking about Common Core standards?
Oh, let's get into that argument, can we? Because I am so tired of the proponents of Common Core trying to convince parents that it's only standards and not curriculum.
Okay, but let me ask you, where in the standards do you find a curriculum?
I do not find a curriculum in the standards. It's the other way around. The curriculum is tied to the standards. And the particular math problem came out of a Common Core aligned book titled Go Math.
Okay, so your challenge then is with the curriculum that the school district chose to use to meet the standard.
No, that is incorrect, because the standard itself, which I can pull up for you.
I got it right here.
It's a math 4th grade.
Oh, I thought we were on 3rd grade. Okay, 4th grade.
Section 4, something or other. Anyway, I have it.
Okay, I got it right here.
That I can pull up for you. Maybe when you go to commercial break, I'll look it up on the computer and give you the exact standard. But the standard speaks to the idea of using a picture or a diagram to explain how they get to the answer, as opposed to just taking a 1 or 2 step process to do mental math or use rote memorization to get to that answer. And so teachers all over America are using curriculum developed by a multitude of publishers to meet that standard. And what teachers are telling me is that it's not an issue of the curriculum, it's an issue of the math approach. It's the type of math that the standard is calling for. It's not specific to a particular curriculum. And this is happening all over the country. He was so distraught that he couldn't do his homework because he didn't have the manipulative tile box that they have in the classroom that they have to do, that he dug through the pantry and opened a box of macaroni and cheese and dumped the raw noodles all over his table there so that he could use raw macaroni to solve a math problem that should have taken him 2 steps to answer. So I went into the school and said, "What is this nonsense?" And teacher says, "My hands are tied. This is what the Common Core standards are calling for us to do. This is the way that we have to teach it." And I started talking to other teachers, not just in my district, but all over the country. The opposition to this is a national grassroots effort with tens of thousands of parents speaking up on behalf of their children. And these parents in every other state are coming back with the same response. And the teachers are telling us, you have to speak up for us. We have been silenced. We have been told that if we speak negatively about the Common Core standards, that's considered a disloyalty to our employer. We've been threatened with insubordination, and we're not going to speak negatively about this. If you want to see the Common Core go away, then the parents are going to have to take this up.
Have you taken it to the school board yet?
I have taken. Did you not see my viral video?
No, I did not.
Oh, No, get on YouTube.
Okay.
Get on YouTube and just Google, or not Google, but search. Isn't that a shame that that's a verb in our generation to Google something, or you are a YouTuber, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead and search Common Core
That's
Mom.
what we used to call fat girls, YouTuber.
YouTube.
No, I'm sorry.
Do I want to know?
Go ahead.
Do I want to know that connection? I don't. Anyway.
Okay, so
Rewind.
So if you watch that video, I give the example of that math question. I did, along with several members of the board that I'm on, which is Arkansas Against Common Core, we had several email exchanges with our state board members, including the chair, back and forth, tit for tat, and all they do in their email responses to us is they copy and paste lingo from the Common Core proponents' website, the CCSSO webpage. They just copy and paste that and send it to us without really answering our questions. I went before the state board meeting and aired my concerns, and that was recorded on video and is viral. It's got over 304,000 hits on it.
Whoa.
Nationwide, because it resonates with parents all over the country.
Okay, but what are they saying? Are they saying we can't change anything, or what?
You can't change the Common Core standards. You really can't. That's part of the agreement. I learned from our joint Senate and House Education Committee members that we do have the ability to add up to 15% material to it, but you cannot change those standards. That's a problem. Curriculum or not, this is a federal imposition on our state rights to manage education.
Okay, real quick question. As far as the math goes, it's not what you're telling me, let me get this correct. To meet the standard that for Common Core is not that you can do the math problem, but that you can do it the way that they say it needs to be done.
That is correct. And what parents all over the state and the country are reporting is, look, my kid brought this assignment home. He arrived at the right answer. Why? Because his parents were going, look, it's 2 times 2.
Yeah, right.
Here's your answer. Just write it. But if they don't demonstrate that they use that particular method to arrive at the answer, it's being marked wrong, even though the answer to the question is correct. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But that's a curriculum problem and not within the Common Core standards. The Common Core standards are this, and simply this. In the 4th grade, you have to be able to do this to pass the 4th grade in Texas. Now, in Arkansas, if you choose to, and Texas doesn't use Common Core, Arkansas does, that now you have to be able to do this by the time you get the 4th grade to pass the 4th grade in Arkansas. So you're comparing apples and apples, which for a family like mine that was transient, that goes from state to state to state, it's very, very nice to have it to where your children can go from the 3rd grade in one state to the 3rd grade in another state, and they have the same expectation. Let me be clear. There is no curriculum, zero, none, nada, not one thing tied to Common Core. The challenge and the confusion comes in is that schools are, yes, that is correct.
That is not correct.
I'm looking at the, I'm looking at the Common,
not correct.
Okay, wait. Let me finish what I'm saying. I'm looking at the Common Core standards right here. There's no call for curriculum. What the challenge is that schools are changing their curriculum to be able to meet the standards. If parents have problems with the curriculum, which will be different in every single school district in this state because every district has the ability to choose their own curriculum.
Let me just ask this question. If they're changing curriculum to meet a standard, is it because the standard says, okay, kids can't just rotely memorize the multiplication tables and give us an answer? They must be able to show us how they got to that answer, so to speak. If you had a pile of 2 things here and I had a pile of 2 things over here, and I put the 2 things times this 2 things over here, I've got 4 things now. I mean, they didn't call it manipulatives back then. But
here's the standard for 4th grade math for Section 1. Interpret a multiplication equation as a comparison. Interrupt 35 equals 5 times 7, or interpret, I'm sorry, as a statement that is 35 is 5 times as many as 7 and 7 times as many as 5, represent verbal statements and multiplicative comparisons as multiplication equations. That's the standard.
Okay, so
no,
doesn't matter how you get to 7 times 5. or
That's
5
what they're
times
saying.
7.
You've got to be able to do that. Now, whatever Little Rock Special School District decides the curriculum to meet that standard, that's what it is. And it's different in Pulaski County. It's going to be different in Benton County. It's going to be. I've done this. I have sat with the people that wrote these. I know this issue.
I know all about you, Laurie Lee. Let me interject here, Dave. Here's the thing. The proponents of this like to use semantics to get this across. There's semantics, and then there's the reality
there's
of the
facts.
Situation.
And there's dribble.
Let her
I've got
talk.
facts.
Let
Listen,
her talk. I'll let you talk.
You know, I am tired of the proponents of the Common Core throwing their teachers and throwing their districts and their superintendents under the bus for the absolute failure of this implementation.
The superintendents are for this. The teachers are for it. My friend is the president of the Arkansas State Teachers Association, and she's been texting me and saying this is all wrong. None of this is accurate. There are no curriculum.
I'll tell you why that is.
Frustrated
because the two teachers unions were each paid $4 million by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to endorse the Common Core. Here's the connection with curriculum that nobody's answering.
The teachers union. She's not a member of the teachers union.
Let her speak.
Laurie,
let her talk.
Who owns the curriculum? Let's look at that. Let me start with a statement that came directly from Arnie Duncan. I quote, curriculum.
Who is Arnie Duncan? I'm sorry.
Arnie Duncan is our federal Department of Education, Secretary of Education.
Thank you.
Okay. He says, and I quote, curriculum can only be as good as the academic standards to which the assessments and the curriculum are pegged. Let me say that again. Curriculum can only be as good as the academic standards to which the assessments and curriculum are pegged. What has happened here, the Reader's Digest version of this, is that the federal government created some nonprofit agencies and got the backing of over 200 private corporations in order to get around the 10th Amendment to make this work. Pearson Education was contracted by the proponents of Common Core to implement a good deal of what's involved in this. They implement the online testing, and they own 90% of the curriculum. All you have to do is get online and look up Pearson Education Publishing. They own all of those teaching resources that we grew up with, like Scott Forstman, McGraw-Hill, Penguin. They own all of those companies.
That's always been true. So, that nothing has changed because of Common Core. That has been.
Now they are obligated. The schools are obligated to align the materials that they use with the Common Core. And of course, Pearson is saying, "Oh, look, we're aligning." And so,
so they've gone back and revised, but still, the decision is each district is allowed to choose the curriculum that they want.
It's the same all over the country.
It is not the same. Look at what happened in DeQueen, Arkansas. This is the challenge with people that do sound bites and top lines and don't investigate or read the standards, is the standards are clear. There is no curriculum tied to Common Core. That is a misnomer. It is not correct, and it's not fair to assert. This is a great program that helps kids that are transient, that raises the bar for Arkansas students that say, hey, you know what? We can be better. We can compete, not just in Arkansas, not just in the United States, but globally. This is a global market. We're 50th in the country. How long have I been involved in education and fighting for kids to get better grades in the state of Arkansas? 10, 15 years? Mm-hmm. Okay? Do you think that I would be, as a staunch right-wing Tea Party conservative, in lockstep with something that I think came from the Obama administration that would circumvent local control? If used properly, this will enhance local control.
All right. We got to take a break.